For everyone watching today, I'm speaking with Ann Ruhman. She is the owner of Old Farm Travel. I love that name. And, Ann, you were the 2023 Questy Community Steward Award winner this year. Did you know you were going to win that?
No, I didn't even know it existed until Rebecca Landry private messaged me and said, I nominated you for an award, and I'm like, okay.
And you know what, Ann? You were nominated by several members. She was not.
Okay.
Yes, yes. You are very popular on in our Facebook group. You may not have done that.
It's interesting. I've often wondered, you've got over 2,000 members at Travel
Mhm,
Quest. I've often
mhm.
wondered how many of them are actually active in the Facebook group, and everything. Because
Yeah.
it's, there are a lot of questions that come up multiple times. And
Mhm.
that Facebook, you can't, it can't tell you how many people are actually seeing uh, that question or whatever it is. So, sometimes I know it's frustrating to those of us who are always seeing the same question. But that's what I figure is that not everybody is seeing the answers. Not everybody is seeing it. So it's one reason people are saying, well, search for it because it's probably there.
True. And I've discovered that some of our newer members, they don't really even know how to do a search. So
Right.
I've had to show them that. But
Right.
one of the things that everyone notices about you is that even if that question has been answered, asked several times each month, you patiently answer it again. And very kindly, your kindness comes across. It's very clear. And yeah, we just appreciate that. I especially appreciate it because if you don't answer the question and no one else does, I have to go looking for that answer sometimes. And
Well,
you
I
seem to
can't
have
say that
it.
I can't say that I hit every question, I probably miss a lot of them,
Mhm.
but I don't mind sitting and explaining things to people,
Mhm.
because it's very confusing. I
Yes.
mean, it's like a totally different world than when I started. Um,
Yes.
because I had when I started, I was on PARS,
Oh
which
my.
most people don't recognize that anymore.
I recognize it. I'm not sure I remember it anymore, but I do recognize it. Yes.
Hmm. Yeah, it was TWA's system,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
it when I was in a brick and mortar. That's how I started, was a brick and mortar,
Mhm.
and I was in a brick and mortar until we lived in New York at the time, and when we moved to Michigan, that's when I did the whole home base thing because that was the trend.
Right.
I checked out some agencies in the area, and it was just as easy to say, if I've got a computer and a cell phone, I'm set. I don't really need, an office to go to. And what I discovered not having an office to go to was that it can get
Mhm.
very lonely, and so I appreciate the Facebook group
Mhm.
because it puts me in touch with other agents and see what's going on in the business. And, uh,
Mhm.
there are a lot of things that these days I have no idea what's going on because it's changed so much.
Right.
I don't use people probably be surprised. I don't use a CRM. Most of my clients are people that I've known for years and years and years.
Oh. Mhm.
Yeah, I'm kind of, I'm at that point where I'm slowing things down. So
Mhm.
only taking referrals and dealing with people I've dealt with for a very long time.
Mhm.
And most of those people, my major thing that I was doing in the brick and mortar was it turned out I turned out to be the person who handled all the corporate business.
Oh, okay.
Yes, so I learned a lot about corporate and leisure, and how they get people get onto Facebook and they ask this question about should I take this corporate client, and I'm like, if you're a major leisure agent and you like that, you're not going to like corporate.
That's true.
Corporate is bang, bang, bang. You got to get it done, and you got to get it done now, because most of the time people are traveling almost immediately.
Yes.
And leisure is not like that at all. You get quotes out to people, you wait for answers.
Mm-hmm.
You're making deposits, and then you're waiting to make final payments.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same at all, and I don't think a lot of people realize that.
No, they don't. I remember years ago, I did some corporate, but I considered it very stressful because of what you said. It's they call, they want it done now, or you get calls like, "Hello, I'm at the airport and I'm ticketed to go to Dubai, but I've had a change and I need you to reroute me. I'm going to Paris."
Yes.
And the flight I want is departing within an hour. And you're like, "Okay."
Yeah. Yes, it can be that way. Most of my corporate stuff was domestic, so I didn't really do a lot of international stuff. I mean, I did enough to make myself familiar with, what it was like to do international stuff.
Right.
But most of it was domestic. And yeah, you get those phone calls at 4:45 on Friday afternoon.
Yes.
And because that seems to be, I don't know, that seems to be the thing, is that all your corporate clients want to get everything in before the weekend on Friday afternoon. And then Monday morning, those that, they get all that pent up energy over the weekend with what they have to do. And then Monday morning explodes.
Yes. Or
So,
you do all that work on Friday and they call you Monday morning and they change it all.
oh,
That
yeah.
that used to happen quite a bit too. Yeah.
Right. And that you've got to be prepared for, especially when, when all these non-refundable fares were introduced. It was like, okay, how do I explain this to the client? That if I book this and I book, most of the corporate, they want the least expensive fare, but that's non-refundable. Are you going to change this? Are you going to need to, cancel this? Because if so, all this does is become a credit with the airline, and half the time these people never use the credit.
Right. That's
So,
true.
that's, but I mean, I actually enjoy the corporate side of it, just because it is people, I like to know what they want. I'm not the type of person who puts up a lot with people who can't decide what they want to do. So,
Well, I noticed though that you do, I looked up your sales and you do
yeah,
have some very nice leisure sales. You are selling Delta Vacations, Viking River, Rocky Mountaineer, and I noticed you had a huge Fairmont hotel booking.
yes,
So,
that
yeah.
was the Rocky Mountain in conjunction with the
Oh,
Rocky
it
Mountain.
was? Oh,
Yeah,
wow, that
yeah.
was a good booking. Yes.
Yes. Yeah, I've got some people who like to do seaborne and
Mhm,
type of cruising.
mhm.
Yeah, and those are some of the people that I have sloshed over from. I've known them a very long time, and they're now retired, so now they're traveling leisurely, and
Yeah.
it's okay. I'm not, and I explain to them, I say, I'm not a cruise expert. And they say,
Mhm.
okay, we like you. So,
What a compliment to the service you've given them all these years. They're
I
willing
was trying to
to
think of, I've
yeah.
got a, I've got a client that, my oldest turns 30 this year, and I've known them longer than that.
Wow.
So, yeah, I was like,
Oh my
"Oh my
god.
god, have I really known Theo that long?"
So, when you got started in the travel business, what led you to even get started?
Well, let's see. I graduated college in 1980,
Mhm.
and what I discovered was I had a history degree, and at the time, the job market was not really good. And
Mhm.
what I found was when I tried to go for a job that was related to my degree, I was getting a lot of responses. Well, you don't have any experience.
Oh.
Need a PhD, to do something. We want people with, higher degrees than just a bachelor's.
Mhm.
I'm like, listen, people, I can go back and get the PhD if you really want me to, but I can't do anything about the experience. That's what you need to give me to do a job.
Mhm. Right.
So I ended up actually because I did find something that I was really interested in, but it could not support me. It was
Mm.
working for a nonprofit, and it just didn't. It just couldn't
Right.
be enough salary to live in the Washington D.C. area, even
Mhm.
two roommates, no car,
Oh.
and everything like that. So I ended up accepting a job in a hotel in the sales office, and I did that for 2 to 3 years.
Oh, okay.
Then I got enticed up, the I got enticed up by a boyfriend to move to Westchester.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I was working for a river cruise line. So
Wow.
yeah,
Now, which river cruise line was that?
do you know KD German Rhine Line?
I used
It's the
to.
Cologne Dusseldorfer.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, that's Viking bought them in the late 90s.
I didn't really know what had happened, but yeah, I
Yeah,
recognized that name. Oh my
yep.
god. Yeah.
So I know the Rhine fairly well because I
Uh-huh.
did it 3 times with them, and
Uh-huh.
um, it was really kind of a funny coincidence that I started working for them because when I was about 12, my family and I did, we were in Europe, and we did one of their cruises from Basel to Amsterdam.
Oh, okay.
I had already been on one of their ships when I
Yeah.
was quite young, but it was an interesting time. And
Yeah.
then I worked for them probably 3 years or so,
Uh-huh.
and then got married. And because of I was making less than my fiance, I moved to where he was. So we lived outside the Albany, New York area for about 18 years before we moved to
Mhm.
Michigan.
Uh-huh.
And it's been a retail agent since I've been a retail agent since '85.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, like I said, I started with the GDS with PARS, and the
Mhm.
office moved to Apollo,
Mhm.
and so I was on Apollo for a very long time. And then we moved to when we moved to Michigan, you guys were on WorldSpan.
Yes.
Okay, that was the new name for PARS. So
Oh,
ours
okay.
moved to being part of the Delta system, which
Mhm.
was at the time Datus 2, if you remember
Mhm.
that,
Mhm. Mhm.
kind
Yeah,
of
I do.
merged, and became WorldSpan.
Mhm.
So it's a completely different system than I remember,
Mhm.
but uh, it's and I haven't. I'll admit I haven't paid as much attention to it as I should, but when we were on Apollo, I was the person in the office that everybody came to with questions.
Well,
I
you
don't
know
know
what?
why, but
You're still that person on Facebook.
I mean, I made it a point, in the office that if there
Yeah.
was something new on Apollo,
Mhm.
trips or with doing uh, pricing records and all that sort of stuff. It was
Mhm.
like, go to Anne because she knows that. Because I had to do all of those things with my corporate people.
Yes.
I negotiated some contracts for them with airlines for special fares,
Mhm. Mhm.
um, things like that. So
Mhm.
I got to know Apollo really well, and then kind of was trying to figure out where I was going when we moved here, when we moved to Michigan.
Oh, okay.
Was I going to continue with the corporate stuff,
Mhm.
or just go straight, leisure with existing clients? And I just decided let's just do this. So when I started with Travel Quest, of course, I was a sub agent under Dean Greenho. Do you remember him?
I don't think I recognize that name. That's been several years ago, hasn't it?
Hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he was. I'll tell you, it's too bad he decided that he was going to retire completely, because he knew far more than I do about the CRS, because he'd worked on American and
Mhm.
I think a little bit on Apollo and also and
Mhm.
Sabre, and he was
Mhm.
a trainer for Sabre.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm a Sabre
Um,
agent.
so he kind of knew, he knew his way around what was going on. So that was good for me, because when I
Yes.
was doing stuff, I could call him and say, okay, I know we can do this, but how do we do it?
So, and you had that support from him, but with our new members coming in, what do you think they should do when they wanna get into selling air? Have you looked at the Agent Air product? Um,
I actually have not. Just because I'm on WorldSpan,
yeah.
and you know I should probably go in and look at it and do some work on it just to see how it compares.
Mhm.
That's one thing that when questions come up about Agent Air, the newer agents or anybody who has not worked on a GDS
Mhm.
not understand the connection between Agent Air and the GDS,
Right.
and understand that Agent Air is just an extension of the GDS.
Mhm. Mhm.
As we in the office when I was on Apollo, and they introduced you
Mhm.
know as we called it, point and click Apollo.
Right.
We, I'm never giving up my regular stuff. I'm not interested in point and click, because
Yeah.
point the GDS was far more flexible in getting what we wanted,
Mhm. Mhm.
and
Mhm.
than doing point and click, uh, because we could build itineraries. There wasn't the marriage requirement of the legs.
Right.
uh, we could pull up each individual leg and sell it that way, which of course
Yes.
I'm doing. But
Yes,
see,
and agents who don't understand the GDS, that's not gonna make a lot of sense to them, but it gave us so much flexibility on
yes,
putting
yes,
together
and
an
and
itinerary.
as I tell people, when they ask questions about about Agent Air and its relationship, I don't know whether you saw it, but I did a like a document that I uploaded into files, comparing what happens in the GDS, why certain things happen in Agent Air, and that's
Mhm.
because that's the way the GDS works.
Right.
That thing. Um,
Yeah, that was I did, I was gonna print that, and then when I went back later, I couldn't find it. I may need to get you to send that to me direct, but yes, that
yeah,
is a very good, explanation and a tool. Some of our newest members, the air seems so complicated that they just sell hotels or the tour only, and they
right.
tell their customers to go get the air on their own. And when you have that situation, don't you think it's better at least to try to learn the Agent Air product?
Oh, absolutely,
Yeah,
absolutely. I think
yeah.
that one of the things that I think it would be helpful for Travel Quest to do
Mhm,
is to run a little Zoom meeting about what's the relationship between, what is the GDS, first of all, and
uh-huh,
how does it work?
mhm, mhm,
Because the document, what I did was I did screenshots of
mhm,
WorldSpan and
mhm.
this is why Agent Air is doing what it's doing, you know?
Oh, okay.
But I
Yeah.
think that it would be something that would be of interest to a lot of agents, just because we are getting these questions about why is Agent Air not doing this, or why is it,
Mhm, mhm.
why can't I get the same flights again?
Yes.
Why can't it,
Yeah.
it's kind of why. I mean, it's a lot more complicated
Right.
than this, but
That's a
basically,
good idea, just to
it's
try to make a connection for them, and they
right,
probably
because
yeah,
most of them have absolutely no idea
right.
that Agent Air is basically Agent Air. You're inputting the information in a point and click environment, and then it's going in and translating that into the formats that the GDS needs in order to pull what you want, and then it goes the other way where the GDS
Mhm.
shows Agent Air what those flights are, and
Right.
translates them into Agent airspace.
Wow.
You find Agent Air I think that it is very helpful in the,
Mhm.
it will show you if there's a commissionable fare involved.
Yes, that's true.
But I think that people
Yeah.
have to come to realize that most of what you do with air is not commissionable. That's just the way it is, unless you are in unless you're in business class, first class, uh,
Yes.
some of the comfort classes,
Mhm.
depends. And then, you guys have contracts with like
Mhm.
travel
Mhm.
or different things.
Well, another way also is to package it like on Vax and book an air hotel land
Hmm.
package and get commission on the total, so
Right,
yeah.
right. So that's why, I mean, I love Delta Vacations. Uh,
Yes, I do too.
mostly because I love their insurance. I mean, I go
Oh
to
gosh.
clients and I say, look, I could get you third party insurance.
Mhm.
I can get you Delta Vacations insurance. And what I recommend is, of course, their top level insurance, because it's basically cancel for any reason. You tell them you
Right.
don't want,
Yeah.
you call me and say, cancel this. And I see that you've got insurance. And I say, okay,
No
you can get it
problem.
back as a refund. No problem. You know, whereas it's so difficult these days to search and search and search the third party
Yeah.
uh,
Mhm,
companies to
mhm.
see if they've even got any kind of even comparable cancel for any reason. Because
Right.
it's like Allianz, I
Mhm.
used Allianz a lot.
Yes, I noticed that was in your sales.
Yeah.
Well,
And
we've come kind of to the end of our time,
oh,
and
okay.
I'll probably reach out again in the future because I didn't even get to half my questions because you've just got so much going on, and you've had such great experience that I think we should share with our members. But I mainly wanted to reach out and just congratulate you on your award.
Well, I'm
And
glad that everybody is not thinking I'm trying to be, you know, a know-it-all, basically.
oh, heavens, no, no. We appreciate you.
Because
And
sometimes in the background you're kind of rolling your eyes at some of the questions, but
thank goodness that doesn't show.
yeah, yeah, exactly. But
All right.
the other
Well,
thing that has come up several times in the last few months I've seen is people wanting to do little mentoring groups,
yes, yes.
which I
We're
think would
kind of
would
trying to
be
work on that. Yeah.
a neat idea, because I wouldn't mind joining a mentoring group.
Okay.
And you could specifically focus them on, selling air,
Right.
selling this, selling that, an insurance one, because insurance is always a hard thing
Oh, true, true.
since we're
Okay, well,
not
I
agents.
will keep you in mind if we start developing that. So,
Hmm.
well, I appreciate you, and you have a good rest of the day. And
You too.
I'll stay in touch. I'll be watching for you on Facebook.
Yeah.
All right.
Very good. I'll be there.
All right. Thanks.
Yep.
Bye.
Bye.